Hello, welcome to my channel for Evolved Humans. I am Ms. Day. Okay, so the very first thing that it felt like was, it was almost like a past dependency that I think you've 100% released, like in your life. I feel like you're no longer dependent on something or someone or some connection or something that you were dependent on before. And I think that in order to release that, you had to experience like your own shortcomings, your own faults, and I think it was really deep wounds. And I think this even wounded, like it feels like that's from the past, but it feels that it's gone. You're no longer dependent in that way. And then now it feels like you work things out and you process them emotionally, maybe even out loud. You articulate them better than you used to, and you just might not even know it because you're not talking to people about it. But like, okay, pretty intense, because it's like this is all about this is about really allowing yourself to feel free. It's a lot about the heart space being really like you can feel it right now. I just feel like there's a lot of senses, and I feel like someone's really, really feeling in their heart more than they were before maybe. And it seems like the message is you need to open your mind, and at the same time, don't be dependent, like literally at the exact same time, don't be dependent on things that you can grab to fill in blanks. Instead, it's like use your discernment in a way that it's like self-discipline, where the discernment is actually protecting you from lies, from low-level draw-ins that you don't want to engage with. It's like a very strong use your discernment, and that seems also to tie in with your own thoughts. Like the reason you don't want to waste your time is because you already have so many things going on in here, and you're on the right track when you're free thinking. It's like you're free in your heart, and you need to remain free in your mind. Like don't tense back up. I don't know what this is weird. And so the oddness of that, I think you're very fast at whatever direction you go. It feels like you're like bowling forward in it. And that's a neat thing, because when you're working with high frequency guides, like you go fast. It's uncomfortably fast sometimes. But that lack of dependency, it's like it leaves you everything's on you. You're all alone. And you know that, and you see it, and you're fine with it. But at the same time, that's extremely strange and hard to know what to do with when you're like totally in charge of it all. And that dependency that you let go of, it's almost like they're telling you that you can use your own discernment, and that is a form of disciplining yourself to sort of be like, take some note and evaluate what it is you're hearing out here before it's allowed to come in. Because this is, I also remember Jim Rohn saying once that he was like, don't use your head as a filing cabinet. It won't work. And this seems like your discipline is needed in your thoughts. Wow. You must have this, like, it seems as if you have asked for answers, but you're not holding your breath for them. Like you're independent enough and stubborn enough to not even wait for the answer. Like when you have needs, you're like, I'll fill them. I'll handle my own stuff. I'll fill my own needs. Very, very, I just feel like you bowl forward. And that's very neat because it's strong. But that can make the reaction to your own ability to use your discernment to keep yourself disciplined. It's weird because it's like not disciplining you like a soldier where it's like keep your thoughts straight. Instead, it's like don't stop feeling. Don't stop feeling emotions. And it's almost like you need to handle yourself with like a soldier mindset. Not mindset. I feel like you can take instruction if it doesn't have anything to do with emotions. And so that's how you need to remember to remain open to emotions. They're like, it's discipline. This is discipline. I just talked about this in my member space, discipline of the senses, because that's one of like the original branches of yoga, which is to have discipline of your senses, which really in my mind, when I say it right now, all that makes me think is stay in check on like the 7 deadly sins. And like, I don't mean that religiously. I just mean literally, don't overindulge, don't give in to temptation, like all the things that kind of pull you downward. That feels to me like, and addiction, stuff like that, that feels to me like being in control of your senses, discipline over your senses. So, this though feels like you're okay with taking instruction, but it can't be from an emotional source, it seems. Or maybe it can't, this is weird, but I feel like there are a lot of people that I would consider like a literal thinker. And to me, when I think of that right now, I don't know why I'm feeling that. So maybe you consider yourself a literal thinker? I don't know. Because some people think that's having a disorder, like a personality disorder. I do not think that. Because when I think of someone who thinks literally, I don't know why, but right now it feels like someone who needs to have all of the pieces in order to make a grand decision. And that's good. So it almost feels like this is also strange because this is strange. It feels like remove harsh descriptions of yourself from your own mind. Get them out of there as a form of self-discipline. Because they don't add to the final product. They don't add to your ability. I feel so much in the heart area that it's like once you remove those things, you'll adapt to feeling different emotions in a bigger way. And I think that you do because it's like the height of perseverance. I don't know why I can't say that word right now. But the height of that and the feminine, like working with one another, I think that that's what you have if you get control of your human. That's what this feels like. This is like, okay, you know that you're getting information, you know that you're awakened to the actual natural world that you are a part of all of the time now. And once that happens, it can feel really weird and it can feel really rapid and scary. So it's like if you can literally remember in the way that works for you, the way that you like operate well. I feel like the way that you can learn at a job is how you should visualize moving forward into your own growth, because you've grown to a point where it's like now you're moving more freely but it's almost like so free and so much that you don't know what to do with yourself, and you think it's too much. Maybe you think you're too much. And this seems very much like that doesn't serve you, does it? Who's that serving? What is that serving? That serves nothing other than against your ability to feel in here. Interesting. And I also feel like it's like I wanted to avoid saying, I don't know why I'm trying to jump over this, but there's 100% for sure, if this reading is yours, like aligned with you right now, whenever you're listening to this, there are huge wounds that caused you to be sort of like always reaching for security that you could never find. And so it just seems like if you were always looking for security, then maybe you never got looked at in that soft, nurturing, feminine way that you needed. And so like you can doubt your own ability to feel that and to receive it when you adapt to not having it for some reason or another, whatever. And it doesn't have to be like motherly. It doesn't have to be that, but it is for some, I'm sure. But this feels so much like you're the one in control. You just have to remember how to keep control of you. Like how controlling you looks may not look the same as it looks to other people, which I actually totally understand, because this is crazy, because in the beginning it was like kind of stubborn. It feels like, but such a force, so worth getting a grip on. It's so worth you getting control. It's like if Elsa never got control of her power, we'd never know how cool she was. She could never save everything, you know? So, worth it. You're Elsa. Okay, so the thing from the past, it's like you have to give I can feel it in here so much. It's like you have to allow yourself to understand that the way that you developed as your own person, like your own operating systems, the way that you responded to things around you, and the way that you chased after your needs in all the wrong ways, in all the wrong places, maybe, for some, not all, but it's like you have to understand that's why I was seeing it that way. It literally, all that is having all of the pieces. That's what it means to be fully rounded and like to make the cycle complete. So it's like all of that stuff that you can still be like, well, I didn't do this, or I do this, or I did that. It's like you can waste all of the time now that you have earned. It's earned. Like, this is why you're getting the message, because you literally are able to keep that feeling alive now. It's just the way that you can control yourself is not going to be like all crazy. It's not going to be like all flowery like other people. That is interesting, because I just did a reading in my member space that was super flowery. It was like super creative. And this is very much like, maybe it's not always going to look that way when it comes to really taming you, like getting a grip on you. Sometimes you have to be really harsh with yourself in here and be like, if I don't have all of the pieces, then maybe that one piece of information about me doesn't have a reason to be in there. And also, sometimes that one piece of information that is negative truth about you, about how you developed and what you've done with it, what you didn't know sooner, all of that, that truth is literally something that you can see in a different light if you choose to, because if you've overcome it, knowing it doesn't give you that credit. It's like you don't get the reward of overcoming it if you're still looking at yourself and staring at yourself about it. It seems like It almost feels like there's going to be a period of time that you might need to be mad for a while. And I don't mean actively, like I don't mean behaviorally acting out that anger. But negative, yeah, it's weird. It's almost like I feel pushed to say negative is necessary too, and my heart is going crazy again. It feels like negative emotions are a part of feeling beautiful emotions. You've got to feel them both. And I know some people have disagreed with that, and that's whatever. It is what it is. If you feel emotions, you are capable of feeling them all. It's like when you're awakened to energy, you're not only awakened to one frequency, you're awakened to all of them. And that's why it's overwhelming. So when emotions feel overwhelming, just remember that if you can take instruction, then you can calm that down. You can gain control of that. This feels very much like discipline is your key. Like whoever you are, I think you're comfortable with discipline because that's how you defeated dependency. Wow, I get that. That's what I did. That's one of the things that I did when I was having my eating disorders is I got in on, and even the show, My 600-Pound Life, anybody who's going to do that bypass surgery, gastric bypass, whatever leaves your stomach smaller, they make sure that you actually show them that you can do it before they give you extra help. And that's discipline. That's you have to prove that you have some form of self-discipline able to come into your lifestyle before we're going to enter your lifestyle, and you don't take the reins when we walk away and we hand them to you. So it's this is not about, this is so much like someone, the reason it feels like a parent too is because it makes me think of certain times where I've needed my mom to speak. Anyway, the thing I was going to say first was I zoned in on different diets, eating plans, and I had fun cooking different things. And that's how I kind of forced myself to be disciplined, where I'd be well, I'll eat at this time and this food and this thing and this thing, because scientifically I couldn't deny that was not bad for me, and it was good for me, and it was going to undo bad things that were happening internally. So it was discipline. And this seems okay, so the thing I was going to say too is there are moments in my life where my mom is very probably harsher with me than other people think is good, but I beg for it. I need it, because sometimes I'm very strong in my own sentence in my brain, and I really need her to give me more pieces of information before I'm able to replace it with another one. It's sometimes I need more in there so that I can kind of silence this, because enough other pieces make it able to add up. Maybe that sounds crazy. That's fine if that's crazy. But anyway, that's a sort of thing that I think that you take instruction well, and that's how I feel. I feel it's not emotional when criticism comes in, especially if I'm craving it. If I want to get better at a certain thing, or if I want to see something differently and I'm struggling to do so. You need more pieces then, if you're a little literal thinker. Interesting. Okay, so I think I'm gonna... No, there's one more thing. So in the beginning, as soon as it was moving forward from the dependency thing, it's almost I pictured the movie Speed, and I thought about the end of it, because this is a need to keep an open mind, because you're open and you're flowing. I feel you've definitely got a lot of movement happening, emotionally, internally too. So this is good. I think I just started in on do this, but it's actually very, very positive. I hope that came through. But anyway, so the movie scene that I pictured was like in that old movie Speed with Keanu Reeves and Sandra Bullock. And I thought about when they like put a camera, they're on a speeding bus, if you haven't seen it. And what they do, there's a bomb on the bus, and there's someone that put the bomb on the bus, and he's watching in a camera to make sure no one leaves the bus while it's moving, because he'll just activate the bomb if he sees that. So what they do is they put a camera instead. They like alter the camera in some way so that he only sees the same image repeating, so he thinks everyone is just driving and looking ahead while they're actually secretly leaving the bus. So it feels like, when I'm thinking of that right now and the need spot for this reading, it's like one of the needs is that you need to be able to feel things you haven't felt before, but you need to feel things you have felt before too. Like, it feels very much like how I was avoiding that first card, like that you can literally fool yourself. You can put your blinders on at any moment, at will. And I think that when you have a habit of doing that, you need to be very hyper aware of your ability to carry that habit forward, because this is a very forward and fast like motion. It feels very strong, but very much like I'm going to get there when I'm going, and I'm going to go fast. And I feel like it's almost like it irritates you if you don't go fast enough. So don't put your blinders on to needing to take time to process this stuff. Don't let it start to tense in the chest, because that's something I started feeling when I was avoiding that card that was like telling me super heavy past wounds. It was like I was blocking and tensing up. And that's what they're saying, like, don't physically tense up, but it's okay to be strict in your mind. It's okay to be strict about like what comes in and what goes out, and what emotions are present with what thoughts. Because if the thought produces an emotion that isn't good for you, then it's one that you need to override. It's almost like they're telling you how to be your own security guard. It's very neat. And that's how it is. It's one vehicle. Like, you have your thoughts, and you have your emotions, and you have all of the physiological stuff going on to make all of those flow. But all of the physiological stuff is what makes them flow in balance, in a balanced way. So it can't be like ultra open to all the stuff up here and not really scope it out just because, well, it might fit in. It's like you can't fill it in with the stuff that you don't trust and also continue to be emotionally processing healthily. You have to pair those two over time. Interesting. Okay. So I'm going to leave it at that. Very neat reading, because it kind of feels like there's a height of a feminine and a masculine type of like guide presence, where they're like, look at what you've done, look at what you can do. It's almost like they're just kind of observing to pull you up, because you're going to get there. You're looking at yourself. So it's like you're forming your own pathways. Very neat. Very strong. Okay, I'm going to end it at that. Let me know in the comments if this resonates, and I will see you in the next reading.
There's the sun and the moon when the skies look and blue. Light is catching your eye like it's a